I just had a conversation with a friend about Shia LaBeouf. Is that the right way? I never know if I'm saying his name right. Shia LaBeouf. That's how I'm going to say. I'm just going to say Shia. I'm just going to use his first name. His last name kind of trips me up a little, pronunciation wise. But I was marveling at how this guy um, could be just such a meme machine. Like we live in an age of memes, and the there's some people who just lend themselves to memes without meaning to be that way. That's just the way they are. And Shia just seems like the kind of guy. Um, Whatever it is about him, whatever it is about his personality, all the way back to the "I am not famous anymore." That moment, the the brown bag over his head with "I am not famous anymore" scribbled on it, to the "Just Do It" thing, which was uh, which was hilarious and also really really intense, and could be used as a motivator. But it's just it's so good. Um, and and the whole after Trump's first election, the whole "he will not divide us" thing. And that whole thing, he was sort of a foil. He sort of was somebody that people made fun of, and he often is made fun of. Um, and I guess what makes Shia so interesting for me also is that recently he has had a conversion to traditional Catholicism, which seems to be which he seems to which seems to be very sincere. And in spite of the fact that he's still a mess, he's a man who has some obvious demons, and I think the fact that he was a child actor in Hollywood lends something to that, and that almost he must have been abused, because it just seems to be, like I say, a ubiquitous thing among Hollywood kid actors. It just seems to happen a lot. If it doesn't happen to all of them, it happens to a large percentage of them, and then they're on this trajectory afterwards. Or it just messes you up. It does something to your psyche. Um, that maybe it's hard to uh, overcome. Um, but I think Shai is actually a good guy. I like him. Um, he's still a mess. He had something that he did for during Mardi Gras where he got all wasted and was making an ass of himself, uh, and got into trouble for that. He had a couple other scandals prior to that one. Um, but I think he takes his faith very seriously, and I respect him for that. Um, Now, Shia comes to mind because something my friend said, and I hadn't even thought of it before he said it to me. He said, "Is because of your interest in the lolcow thing? Is that why you're talking about Shia? Why you're interested in Shia?" And I honestly, it hadn't come together for me that Shia LaBeouf is a lolcow, but he definitely is. He is one. He's an unusual one. Um, because most lolcows, you know, well, it's a combination of a couple of things. It's the someone who is very desirous for attention, um, and but usually it's someone who has nothing really to offer, who has no real talent. Uh, if he's trying to be a comedian, he's a bad one. Uh, or if he's trying to be, I don't know, a performance artist or an actor, or I don't know, if he's trying to say something, he's just. He's completely unself-aware of how bad he is. Um, and like I said, there's a fascination to that because I think I think a lot of us are on the lolcow spectrum. I think everybody who has a desire for attention, and I certainly count myself among those people. Hence this YouTube channel. Hence, me doing a lot of the things that I do. Um, and why I was interested in acting at a certain time in my life. And I think everybody who has this who has an exhibitionistic side to them. Um, we all have we're all on the spectrum, the lolcow spectrum, in one degree or another. Now, I think what saves you from becoming a lolcow, an all-out lolcow, is self-awareness. And usually most of the time, typically, the lolcow is completely non self-aware. Well, I think I think he has to be that. That's like the one necessary thing. He has to be completely unself-aware, and he has to be. Usually, he's totally untalented, and he puts himself out there, and you know, if it isn't aware or denies, has a real has just some inherent ability not to be embarrassed about himself. Or if he is, whenever he feels embarrassment, he just turns it off immediately. He's able to turn it off immediately. Most of us are not like that. Most of us, if we feel like we're embarrassing ourselves, we feel ashamed, we feel embarrassed, and we stop. And I know that's certainly happened to me before. And so I see the fact that I see myself in the lolcow is part. It's not just me laughing at them because they're making fun of them for uh, for being idiots or for making asses of themselves. And it's so like I think there's something there's a compassionate ness to my interest in them. Which just isn't to say I don't find them funny. I do, and I guess I laugh at them. you know, with lolcows, you laugh at them. You don't laugh with them. Um, and but for me, there's something cathartic about it because it's like I've said before. It's like uh, if you have a degree of self-loathing, there's something cathartic about seeing somebody just go out and just either literally or metaphorically just get wrecked. you know and I talked about Jackass and like the stunts, like how seeing those guys do those ridiculous stunts where they would hurt themselves spectacularly, doing something completely insane. Um, and it has always just made me crack up. It's always touched me on a level, you know, and when something makes you laugh, it's not to be too analytical here, but I think when something makes you laugh, it's because you're responding in a primal sort of way to it. You can't control what you find funny. You're supposed to. That's the thing. There are some things that you're supposed to just not, in our woke, politically correct age, that's just not funny. No, you are not supposed to find that funny. You're a bad person if you laugh at that. But that's just not how humor works. Humor is it's just like an impulse. It's just like if when the doctor bangs your knee with his implement and you kick your leg, it's reflexive. So what's interesting about Shia is, again, Unlike the typical lolcow. And again, I hadn't even thought of him as a lolcow, but he definitely does fit that description because he has absolutely no self-awareness. He doesn't seem to. Um, and and he does seem to be, to want to be seen and want to be heard. Um, and he doesn't seem to be aware of how he comes across. But the difference is he's actually talented. Shia LaBeouf, you know, has got talent, um, and he's also smart. The guy has got brains. He's articulate, um, and I'm happy for him that he's going the trad route. And he's saying in the latest interview he was saying some pretty based things. Talking about how he didn't like it when gay guys touched his leg. That wasn't something he really appreciated, and and I'm guessing again there's some there's some history there, but it's just funny to that he would be able to say something like that and not think, oh, how is this going to be taken? Are people going to be offended? Am I going to be canceled for this? He doesn't seem to care. And say when he's asked in this latest interview how he feels about if Jesus were here right now, and he just has this emotional response, and he's way over the top with it, but it's totally sincere, and because he loves Jesus Christ, he loves him that much, and I think maybe some people were saying that it was quote unquote performative. I don't think it was performative. I think it was him sincerely reacting to the question. And he was saying, who's in hell? And he's asked who's in hell. He says, oh, Martin Luther, that guy's definitely in hell. That's how dedicated a Catholic he is. He hates Martin Luther because, he went against the church. So yeah, he's got lots of hot takes on things, but again, it's unusual to see somebody with absolutely no self-awareness, but smart and talented, and that's the case with Shia LaBeouf. Now I want to also talk about another celebrity, and that's David Lee Roth. And this kind of brings up the specter of people who were once really great performers, but who've gotten old and have lost it. And there's no shame in that. You're young and energetic. You have a certain charisma. It lends itself to being the front man of a legendary rock band, like it was for David Lee Roth. And he's not the only one that this applies to, but I've seen him. I've seen him recently. He's been on tour recently, and he's dude's in his 70s now. He's still wearing tight leather pants and does not have the pipes anymore. It just doesn't have it anymore, and doesn't seem to know or doesn't seem to care about the fact that his performances are terrible. Again, this is somebody who, it almost makes you weep. And I'm not a fan. I'm not a hard rock or heavy metal fan. I was never a Van Halen aficionado. But you watch, videos of him, in with the band in concert in the 70s or 80s, performing live, and he is undeniably just a fantastic showman. You got to hand it to him. Kind of a little seedy, a little sleazy, a little obnoxious, but very, very charismatic, and very, fun to watch. Just owns that stage, and I think back then he didn't have any filter about it, and he didn't need to, because he was, he actually had these chops. He actually had this singing voice, and he had this ability to captivate an audience. And now in his old age, he's lost his looks, he's lost his voice, he's lost his stage presence. Everything that was great about him as a performer is completely gone. But he's still out there performing, and either unaware or totally not caring about the fact that people are just making fun of him, that people are just or just wincing, just cringing. I mean, he is talk about cringe. He has become cringe, and you want to tell him, just, it's okay. You don't have to do this anymore. You had a great career, let your career stand for itself, and just relax and enjoy your old age, and do other things. Don't try to be a hard rock showman anymore, because that's just not happening. But I don't know if anybody tells him that, or if it's even any use to tell him that. Because he doesn't seem to hear it. I think he just doesn't hear it. I think he doesn't believe it. I think he thinks he's still Dave in his late 20s or in his early 30s. Dave in his prime. But anyway, those are two other lolcows, more unusual types of lolcows. I guess for Shia, it's like I don't think he's lost anything. He's definitely aged a little. I mean, he's aged a lot, since his child actor days. And yeah, he's been through a lot, and he's done a lot of things that aren't that great. He's gotten wrapped up in some scandals, and he's had this change of heart that really has affected him thoroughly. And I think that the faith that he holds is definitely sincere. But he still has talent. I mean, I saw him he was cast in a recent David Mamet directed movie. I can't remember the title of it right now. And he's very good. He's very good in this movie. So he's still got the chops, but what he lacks is the self-awareness, and so he still still fits into that, still can be slotted into the lolcow thing, because of his absence of self-awareness, and because he seems addicted to attention. And with David Lee Roth, same thing. He's lost. In his case, he's lost everything that once made him great as a performer. But he's still doing it. And only I'm not going to direct you to any of to watch any of these videos of him recently, but if you do, just know you're going to cringe. You're going to cringe hard. But anyway, just wanted to talk about two very interesting lolcows, celebrity lolcows.